Welcome. I have a guest today. I'm super excited to welcome Brad Kearns. He's a lifelong athlete, former world ranked, like third triathlete in the world, still competes in masters track and field events. He is host of the BRAD podcast, co-author of the book Born to Walk, which I highly, highly recommend. He's also a good friend and super fun guy. And today we're specifically talking about my funny little shoes that I wear, my barefoot shoes, Peluvas, that I've been saying have given me a better ass. So welcome, Brad. Thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, we just got a huge bump in followers when you said that, but it's
Of course we did.
incredibly true, and we'll be getting deep into that. But it's so nice to join you and so excited to be part of this barefoot revolution with Peluva. As many people know, my longtime writing partner and mentor and former coach when I was a pro triathlete, Mark
Yeah.
Sisson, is the co-founder with his son Kyle. And it's been a great run since late 2023 when the shoes first launched because the footwear industry is kind of it's based on flawed and dated ideals and premises that you need all this cushion and support and a constructed arch, and isn't this nice to have all that cushion in the heel? And basically modern shoes are destroying our feet. 77% of Americans complain of chronic foot pain. So if you raise your hand and say, my feet feel fine, you're an outlier. You're rather than the norm is foot pain and discomfort. And it's largely driven by encasing our feet into these boxes, these casts, and walking around for years and decades. So the idea of getting back to a more barefoot inspired lifestyle is what helped frame the mission of this company. You held up the book before we went on the air, Born to Walk, and that's the recent book that Mark Sisson and I wrote. And it's kind of a takedown of the problems with the endurance running scene, where running is very stressful and injurious to most people, and an encouragement for everyone to get out there and do the quintessential human form of movement, which is walking, and also talking about the many health benefits of just getting a more active, energetic lifestyle, starting with walking, and of course, walking with the correct footwear so that you can heal and strengthen your feet rather than continue to suffer from the plantar fasciitis and the Achilles tendonitis and the bunions and all the things that happen
All
when
the things that
we're stuck
everybody's
in
always,
feet.
yeah, always complaining about. And I think that's what really, I was so anxious to read this book when it came out because it validated everything that I've been telling my audience for over 10 years now. I've been encouraging, I've worked over the years with women and men who are wanting to get back in shape and, aren't already super athletic. And I'm always encouraging them to walk. Walking has changed my life.
Mm.
It's so sustainable. And then when, as a student of ancestral health, I was one of the first primal health coaches.
Yeah,
Um,
what does your card say? Number six or
I'm
something?
probably
Don't
like
you get an
number six,
official
and like
stamp in the corner?
L's ahead of me. L Russ is ahead of me, but
Yeah, yeah.
not many people. I was one of the first primal health coaches, but that really, again, validated everything that I had been saying about the benefits of walking. I've been talking about it forever because it's not just the movement, it's getting out in nature, it's natural light
Mm.
in your eyes, it's all of these things. And then I've been really, as I told you before we got in the air, I was excited. I tried Peluvas when they first came out. You and Mark were involved. I was like, of course, I want to try this. I was familiar with the concept, but I definitely noticed something with them, but I didn't use them consistently. And I think what I really wanted, what I'm doing now is, and I talked to you about this, over the last couple of days, as I'm determined to be in the best shape of my life for my 60th birthday in August. So I'm really doubling. I'm not doing anything new and crazy. I'm doing the things that I've been talking about for years, getting my steps in, prioritizing protein and produce, some basic resistance training, super simple. But something that I've committed to are wearing my Peluvas. Actually, I have a different pair on my feet right now, the hiking pair, wearing them for all of my walks and hikes. And what I'm noticing is, as I was, telling you, like I'm building a better booty. So can we talk about the whole big toe situation? Is that doesn't have to something to do with the engagement of our big toe helps our glutes?
Exactly.
Okay.
And as many of us know, the gluteal muscle group is the largest and most powerful in the body.
Mhm.
It plays a critical role in the correct human gait pattern. And the problem with today is when we sit down in a chair, we deactivate the glutes for hours and hours on end, and then we walk with elevated cushion shoes, which inhibit the full functionality of the human foot. And in particular, like you're leading me up to, the big toe dorsiflexing, which is flexing or engaging with the ground. That's called dorsiflexing and pushing off. That is the primary trigger for the activation of the glute muscles in the body. If you walk with a lazy, shuffling stride with duck feet, with the feet pointed out, you're taking your big toe out of the mix. It's not having that powerful push off. And
Oh,
so then you're shuffling along through life and your glutes are just staying there sort of deadened like they got from sitting in the chair. And so then we have this atrophy, this dysfunction. That's where we get the pain in our lower back and our knee because we're not walking correctly. So to turn this whole thing around, the goal is to get your feet back into the game, especially the big toe, which is the most important joint in the entire body for locomotion because it actually supports your entire body weight for just a moment over the course of every stride. So your whole body is
sure.
balanced over your big toe. And when that big toe is strong and able to operate independently from the other toes, which it cannot do, even in a shoe that's called wide toe box, which is way better than a regular shoe with the
Mhm.
pointy front, you still need that big toe to have complete freedom to operate through multiple planes of motion independently from the other toes. So now it can push off and push you forward into your stride, and the glutes will actually fire and get a workout even when you're just walking around the block. So your improved bootylicious results come from, of course, getting in the gym and pushing hard and doing 3 sets of 12 with the booty machine is great, but we also have this day-to-day objective to use the muscles, especially when we're sitting around a lot. So now, if we can pop up from our work desk and go for a 5-minute walk with correct form, we will get a great workout and we will condition the muscles to be able to handle a strong workout at the gym as a complement to just leading a more active, energetic life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm finding too, adding hills to my walks, which is the other thing that I really love about walking. I think people kind of poo-poo it like, oh, it's not that
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah, I'm not getting a
Okay.
workout. Yeah.
Add some hills. Oh, climb Cathedral Mountain in Sedona. I was doing that a couple weeks ago. Like you can do all these things to challenge your walks, to challenge yourself. And it's just like it never gets old. It never I've continued that, but just adding daily hills just that are in my neighborhood. I can feel when doing them in these shoes, I feel a difference.
Here's another thing about walking. It is the foundation for aerobic conditioning in the body. So we're going to call it zone one cardio. We hear all about zone two. It's pounded into our brain. The scientific experts say zone two is proven to add longevity. Okay, that's all fine. But zone one has a tremendous training benefit to the cardiovascular system. And this is the zone where you develop your fat burning capabilities to become a fat burning machine around the clock. So we have reports from people that love the shoes and they write in and say, I lost a bunch of weight from just walking more and enjoying it in my Peluvas without pain. And so the weight loss from a walking oriented lifestyle is not from the calories that you burn walking around, even up your hills. You can go back and enter in the calculator, and it's like, oh crap, I only burned 326 calories, and this medium Jamba Juice is 408. So what's going on? Well, what's going on is you optimize fat burning and you regulate your appetite and satiety hormones so that you're not a food machine chowing down Ben and Jerry's after the stressful 5 mile run that you did with the group and the pace was too fast and you've exhausted and depleted your system and burned out your glycogen. So it is a setup for a successful lifelong maintenance of optimal body composition.
Yeah.
And I'm raising my voice a little because all of us really need to understand and appreciate that the human just needs to move around to become a good fat burner. And all the things that we talk about on your other shows and your content about getting in the gym and doing the strength training and the sprinting, those are all great fitness aspirations, but everything has to start. It all starts with walking more frequently and doing it in the correct manner, starting with your feet.
And then, what we're putting into our bodies also. But yeah, I've always said, like, I don't walk for I'm not walking for the calorie burn, but there are so many benefits. And then you're talking about the appetite regulation. And then, when you're walking and getting outside in natural light, you're also sleeping better, which also helps to regulate your appetite. So
Mm,
there's so many to me, there's so many compound benefits to getting out and walking. But then when you're doing it in the right shoes, it's like I see and feel a difference, much more of a difference since I've switched out these shoes.
that's great to hear. And the other thing about this whole story that we're telling is you haven't heard a lot of entry barriers yet. So if we were talking for the last 10 minutes about, yeah, I do 3 sets of 12, Elizabeth, how about you? And I do single leg glute machine with the other leg suspended. Okay, okay, okay. All that stuff is great. And the more interested we get in healthy living, the deeper we can get about which produce do you recommend more than the other produce and all that kind of stuff. But what I see looking around me in real life with real life friends, family members who are not living and breathing fitness and health like we are every day are all these complexities and interference with just doing something simple and improving our health. So now if we can kind of when we finish this show and the person is walking away with takeaways, it's like, guess what? All you have to do is get out the door
Open
and
up the
get moving
door.
a little bit more, knowing that it's not strenuous. You don't have to get motivated and psyched up and crank up the music and or feel intimidated because you're in the back row and everyone's better than you. It's just a great, great starting point that's within reach of everyone. And furthermore, a 5 minute walk has tremendous health benefits. And we're going to stack those over time and do another show a year from now after you turn 60 and see if you're in your best shape. And it's like, yeah, remember we talked a year ago? If you get out and take a couple few 5 minute walks a day, I always reference the pet, because I have this beautiful old 14-year-old dog and
Uh-huh.
she goes out twice a day no matter what. I don't care if I'm not motivated or tired or it's raining.
Yeah.
She's eager to go, and I owe that to her to give her a beautiful life. So short walks, longer walks, great hikes on the weekend, all that stuff is great, but just get started with whatever level you're comfortable at and it will accumulate great benefits over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyson, my little calf, is asleep on the chair next to me. Same thing. We get out every morning. It's just like I owe that to
Tyson.
him. Tyson, named after Iron Mike, but he's a
Oh yeah.
lover, not a fighter. Um, but yeah, it's just that get your dog out, get it, and just that. Also, could we talk a little bit too about the benefit of the quick walk after a meal, what that
Mhm.
does for, because I know that's great for blood sugar regulation too, right?
Yeah, there's research that I think we reference in Born to Walk, like a 15-minute walk at a really slow pace. I forget what the study said, like 2 miles an hour or something
Uh-huh.
ridiculously.
Yeah.
If you just get moving, you can get like a 50% a drop in the glucose response, which is important for a lot of people struggling to get those fat burning mechanisms into gear. So I think we've covered the benefits of walking and then walking in the correct footwear, getting that
Yes.
big toe re-engaged.
Hmm.
And what we're also realizing is every moment that you spend in shoes, whew, it's damage and destruction to your feet. But of course, we have all kinds of obligations and specific needs for example, athletic shoes, dress shoes, you want to get your heels on for the maximum cover shoot. You want to do, work construction. You're going to be wearing steel-toed boots, not Peluvas. So don't
Yeah.
misunderstand me. Same with the people who insist upon doing the sport of endurance running. They're going to get those big cushion shoes because what they're doing to their body, they need it. So
Right.
Peluvas can be thought of as like a way to recover from the damage and destruction caused by regular shoes. And
Yeah.
what we find, what I've found in myself, I have a video where I basically threw away about 2 dozen different pairs of shoes. And some of them were flip-flops and my Crocs and my beach sandals. And then I had these shoes for the gym, and these shoes. So it's kind of an awakening to realize when you get them on your feet and you realize how comfortable it is to have a barefoot-like experience, it's
Mhm.
really difficult to go back and
It
jam your foot into a shoe and tie the laces and go, uh-oh, back to jail.
it definitely spoils you. Like I can't wear regular hiking boots since I started hiking in these. And I'm a better hiker and I'm more confident because I have a better feel for like just over the weekend, 4 miles was like 1,000 foot elevation up a mountain. We're climbing on rocks, all these things. I was so confident. Now that's stuff I wasn't doing even a few years ago. But as I've improved my fitness, I was so confident in my, like I could feel where I was. It just gave me more confidence. And like you said, I mean, this isn't what I'm wearing every day. And I wear crazy ass heels and I love that stuff. But then going out for a walk, I slip these on and I'm just like, and I'm finding myself wearing them more and more now, even, to run out on errands and things because I feel so good in them. And then people always asking, like, stop me and ask me about my shoes. And I start, so
Let's talk about that for a second. You've made an excellent point. And we have a model called the Peluva Strand ATR that stands for all terrain. It's for hiking and it's got a
I
little bit
have
more
those on my,
buildup.
I
It's
have them
got
on
better
right now.
tread. It's got better, more stable upper material. So it's a more
Yes.
rugged shoe than the other ones you held up to the camera. So the thing about hiking and hiking on a bumpy trail or encountering any type of strange surface is we will operate best when we can feel and experience all those undulations. And I'm talking about if you're going to step on a big giant rock right in the middle of your stride, and you step on it with a shoe that has a flexible sole and has we call it ground feel. It's the sensitivity where
Yes.
it's not this really rigid, arch supported hiking boot. You're
Hmm.
going to be better off stepping on that with a softer, more pliable shoe because your central nervous system will react appropriately to alter your balance and navigate the obstacle. Here's an example everyone can maybe relate to. You're walking in the middle of the night, and the kid left the Legos out on the carpet. And so you step right onto a sharp piece of Lego. What happens in the middle of that stride is you immediately react and alter your balance so that you don't crush your foot on top of the thing. You feel it just like a tiny pebble anyone can reference at the beach. In the
Right.
parking lot, you step on the pebble and you immediately kind of move your shoulder, your neck, everything adjusts, and you carry on without crushing your foot onto the obstacle. Now, if you strap up these rigid, heavily cushioned, elevated heel hiking boots and go for a 9 mile hike, you're not gonna hurt your feet on some obstacle, but you're gonna get those things off and you're gonna have micro trauma and inflammation in the lower back, the knees, the hips, the hamstrings, everywhere, because what you've done for 9 miles is inappropriately disperse the impact forces throughout your body because your foot was not allowed to react and position accordingly and have that ankle mobility and things that
Hmm.
when you flip an ankle on the trail, you go from perfect to you're on the ground with a
Right.
sprained ankle and a 12-week rehab. But when you're able to have that ankle move and undulate, you'll step over that rock and go, "Oh, that was a weird step," and my
Yeah.
body was able to
But you just make
react.
you make the adjustments. Yeah, no,
Yeah. And so,
I really
one
notice
more
it.
added comment about that is we are now in society where the number one the number one cause of accelerated demise and death in Americans over age 65 is falling and adverse related health consequences.
Mhm.
So people aren't falling and dying from falling, but they fall, they break a hip, they're bedridden. 23 to 33% of them are dead within a year after being bedridden from a fall. So to prevent falling, we need better proprioception. We need more strength in the muscles so that we
Yeah,
can
quad
handle
strength is
it,
huge.
but we
Right.
need to feel what we're walking on rather than jam the shoe into these, now they call them orthopedic shoes,
Hmm.
where if you're in on Medicare, you get two pairs of orthopedic shoes every year as part of your
Oh, I did.
policy.
Oh,
It's
oh dear.
built into the medical system. It's insane. But we need the
Wow.
opposite. We need the seniors to be walking around barefoot and
Exactly.
being stronger and more nimble.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I had I have two very active grandmothers who lived a really long time. And it was because they were moving around, going up and down the steps, doing all the things. They had the quad strength, they had the balance. So,
Love it.
yeah, really
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, we've been talking quickly about it, and now I'm going to take a breath and admit to everyone, look, it does require a recalibration of this long time belief systems that we've been pounded by shoe marketing, where we need more cushion, we need some support. And we have, the trade shows, Elizabeth, where we're exhibiting and saying hi to everybody, and you want to try some Peluvas? We have some pairs, and people will come in there and go, do these have arch support? Because I
Yeah.
have bad arches, or I have flat feet, or I have high arches. And I look them in the eye and I go, no, it has absolutely no arch support because you're the arch support. Your arch needs to get back in the game and start supporting your weight and getting activated. So that said, it might require a gradual transition if you are
Mhm.
someone who has suffered for a long time with arch pain or Achilles tendon weakness or even tight calves and things that we develop. But you can do it by walking because walking is so low risk
Right.
in comparison to doing things like running, where the impact load is so high. If you switch a brand of shoes, you're going to go get injured. So this is
Yeah.
a gradual, sensible transition to a more barefoot inspired lifestyle. And if you do nothing else, we're going to give you your code and we're going to get a great
Yes.
discount for your followers. But go to peluva.com and download our free ebook. It's 88 pages of extensive description and guidance how to transition carefully to get your feet stronger and be more barefoot adapted.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I know what I did in the beginning is I just, I used them, I kind of eased into it. And I remember hearing Mark say, because I remember one of my feet, I don't remember if it was my left or my right foot, but one of my feet slid in really easily. And
Mm,
the other one, I really struggled. And he said, the harder time you have getting your toes in, like the more you need these shoes. And I always
right.
remember that. So I would tell anybody trying them, it's going to be a learning curve in the beginning. It feels funny putting them on and getting your toes in place. It's like putting gloves on your feet, but it does, you know, it, now I just slide right into them and I'm so used to them.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that because we do hear from a lot of customers. They excitedly hear about us, they order, they get the box, and then they're like, these don't work for me. My toes won't go in. And
Yeah.
we have to calm down and say, look, watch this video. Here's the correct technique. But I do see people in real life interactions, like at the trade shows, where, man, those feet have been wedged together. And most of us, if we take off our shoes and look down at our feet, the pinky toe is folded over and wedged inside the other toe. When instead they're
Yeah.
supposed to look like a hand, you
Right. They're
know,
supposed to be
yeah.
splayed. No, and
But
this really, yeah,
yeah, the
makes,
cool thing is like once you get your toes in the slots with a little work and pushing and guiding and all that, then it's like you're wearing a toe spacer all day long. And
right.
it becomes extremely comfortable to let the feet loosen up and realign. And so it's over time, as you said at the outset of the show, you weren't consistent with wearing them. It is a really great feeling to get into the groove every day and
Hmm.
realize that your feet are getting stronger and more adaptable. And then, like I show off at the trade show myself, where I have the shoe on the ground. I don't even use my hands. I'm just standing up talking, and I slide my foot
And you
right
can
in there.
slip your foot
But
right in.
that was not the way it started. It started
No.
with me digging that baby toe and,
Oh,
and
I was
forcing it over.
when my first pair when they first were delivered, I opened it up. I couldn't wait to see them, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not quite ready to try this." Like they were sitting on a chair in my living room for a week before I tried them on because I was like so. And then now it's like I wear them all the time. I can't
Yeah.
imagine not wearing them.
It's funny you said people stop and ask you questions, and that of course happens to me all the time because they're unusual looking. And I've done a couple women's conferences where it was like 600 women came to Vegas for a retreat, and then I went to Dallas and met with 500 women, and it was interesting because they have a lot of fashion sense and the sensitivity, and they're looking at the shoe and going, "Oh, these look. I'm not sure these look good on me. My feet look weird." And I was thinking like. I'm not going to answer that as a dude at this retreat with
Right.
600 women listening and overhearing me saying, no, they're really fashionable. But the thing is, like, what is fashion? In
Right.
a sense, it's people who are setting the trend, usually celebrities, right? Like Kim
Hmm.
Kardashian first went to
Right.
Starbucks wearing yoga tights 20 years ago, and then they became, ubiquitous where females wear them for everything, and that's their
Right.
look. And I think when people are wearing these shoes, you do get eye-catching interest, and you're kind of setting a trend for a new way of,
Yes. And
of
so
living.
that was, I will say, that was one of my objections also because I thought they were kind of funny looking. But here's the thing. So now I wear them and I'm totally comfortable with them and I love them. And I do like Peluvas have so many different styles. You can find the look that like works for you. But I just will say, like, I consider myself pretty fashion forward. The Sun, the British tabloid, described me in an article as a 5'1" fashionista. And I am wearing these
Nice.
shoes. Yes, I love that's my favorite quote. They call me a fit baddie and a 5'1"
Mm,
fashionista.
mm.
And I didn't know anything about this article. I didn't see it until much later. Um, but so I just decided, hey, I'm going to start wearing them with my cute workout wear and just make it work. And now, like, I can't imagine not wearing them. So,
Yeah, and like I said, the company's been around only for a few short years. We launched as kind of Barefoot 2.0 was the
yeah,
quip because as many people might remember, this is now 20 years ago, 2006, Vibram first came out with the original five-toe
right.
shoe, and we were, so excited. And Mark Sisson and I have been wearing these shoes for 2 decades now, but Mark always had in the back of his mind, they are kind of ugly. They're great for the gym and the trail if you're a hardcore, real barefoot freak, but
Right.
they didn't have any padding at all on the bottom, and so they were really difficult to adapt into real life with real people. So
Hmm.
when Mark and Kyle launched this new company, their charter was like, we got to make stuff that looks cool all around town. We got to have a little extra cushion so that when you're walking on like a sidewalk or indoors on hard modern surfaces,
Right.
you actually get a little bit of comfort
You
for your
need some,
feet.
right, because we're not on the trails and on grass all the time. So no,
Right, like
that
the true hardcore ancestral person will be like, well, those shoes are, those have cushion on them, so they're not truly caveman shoes. And it's like,
well,
yeah, the caveman didn't walk on
they,
marble floors either, dude.
right,
Nor did they walk on,
yeah, they
a
weren't walking on
sidewalk. So
concrete.
so
Yeah.
yeah, get over it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the stuff that makes me crazy. Like we live in a modern world. I also want to look cute. So, that's why if it weren't for Peluvas, I would not be wearing barefoot shoes despite all the benefits. So I'm thrilled with them. I'm gonna drop the link in the caption and my discount code. And we should maybe, based on questions I get from people, we'll have to do a follow-up on this at some point too, because I
Oh my
feel like there's
gosh.
a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I really encourage people to try them. We have a guarantee, right? So if you don't like them,
Yeah.
no problem. But I'm so certain that it's going to be life changing, and you're going to love them. That that's why we're saying, look, just try them and give it a chance, though.
Yeah.
Know that it might be tough to get those toes in, and then you're often sailing along with a walking oriented lifestyle. uh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
good stuff. And who can forget the HHH10 code? I mean, I'm
That's right.
surprised it wasn't taken. Has
Well,
anyone else taken happy, healthy, hot? Nope, it's all
nope,
Elizabeth.
it's
It's all
all
you.
mine.
Yeah, so it's 10% off. So HHH10
Then,
is the
yes.
code you can use at peluva.com. And if you have any questions, we're happy to help you out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brad. And yeah, I can't wait. We're gonna have to do this again soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about protein and produce next time. I like that little
Absolutely.
quip.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Prioritize protein and produce.